a little bit of blood in there. I'm just gonna make it strong. Welcome back to the Crank and Wagon YouTube channel. In the past, we have been doing some build-ups on the channel in terms of projects. Trying to get my feet wet with filming, understanding, try to improve on catching shots and editing videos and uploading them. And I did that with my JE 8-valve turbo daily driver project. Now we're switching over to the Passat, the VR6 B3 Passat wagon. Quick rundown. I've had the car for 15 plus years, or almost 16 years. It was a 16 valve, now it's a VR6. It went through like a stock VR6 with a decompression plate and just a chip tune from CT Motorsports back in the day. Small turbo, 36-pound injectors, stock fuel pump. And that car, or that setup, years ago, back when I was in Ontario, Canada, without the rear seats, rear bumper, passenger seat, on 205/40 17 street tires, it ran a best of 12.99 at 113 miles an hour, I think. 13, yeah. So a really nice setup for if you had a car that you were primarily looking to drive just in the street and didn't really care about all-out horsepower. It had good, the turbo spooled up. It was like a modified T3 T4. It spooled up good. It gave the mid-range power, but with a modified stock intake manifold, it did still produce quite a bit of that mid-range torque, probably a little too much. And it did die off on the top end with that turbo, a little bit too much restriction. So, moving along, I didn't drive the car for a few years. Then the next setup, I put another engine in because that one was pretty much shot to hell. And I put another used engine in with a decompression plate, so it was from 10-to-1 compression to 9-to-1. And I put a TCC6 turbo on it from Performance World. It's a TCC6, a 0.96 AR rear housing, so definitely more flow, 3.5-inch exit, less back pressure, all that stuff. And I've had that car that setup up to about 20 pounds of boost. Upgraded the fuel pump, but essentially, and the biggest change, was that it went from a chip tune to a plug-and-play standalone called Lugtronic. So that was the biggest thing. It really did change the way how that car drove. Much more fun in terms of all-out power, and very dramatic as it spooled up compared to the small turbo. And to me, just as usable, so for me it was great. Actually less of a traction issue because of the way how the turbo spooled up and your power was more top end. You weren't spinning tires as much, and I've yet to break a drive shaft on the new setup. Small turbo I broke probably like 5 or 6. My record was like 3 in 9 days. So now we're at the next stage of that setup. So continuing with the electronic, we have the original block. So we have the original block when it was turbocharged with the small T3 T4 turbo, which is now my 8-valve Jetta, by the way. So this was the block. I had it rebuilt and bored out for 83 mil pistons. And it's got JE 9-to-1 forged pistons, forged IE connecting rods, ARP, ARP main studs, and ARP rod bolts. Yeah, and obviously we're going to do ARP head studs. So we're going to put together a video of me putting together the rods, pistons, and getting the pistons into the block, and then we're going to return to this and then start getting this torqued down and prepared for the head, and then we're going to build it up. I have obviously new timing chains and guides and tensioner and water pump, so there's a bit yet to get it done, but yeah, we're going to put it together. And I've been putting it off because I've been nervous, because I've never had any kind of money into an engine in the 16 years that I've had this setup. So I've always not cared. When you have a cheap, $500 engine in there, if it blows up, it's not really the end of the world. Now we have thousands of dollars sitting here, so definitely want to get it right. But at the same time, I've in the past with other projects, I've just been determined to learn and to try to do things myself, with the help of like the internet and YouTube and experienced people that can guide you through words and whatever. Yeah, so this is the main thing. I want to do it myself and build, the cars. Basically, I built everything myself except for this. Now the setup has changed, but before, the only thing that really wasn't really mine was a buddy of mine made the intercooler pipes for me on the initial turbo setup. So, but this is going to be now 100% me. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what this engine is going to be like to drive with. But anyway, enough talking. Let's cut to the video. Some time lapse and shenanigans and pistons and rods, obviously. So yeah, no real issues other than I cut myself on one of the machine. It was either this edge or the piston ring, but it made it hard to tell because all the lube, assembly lube, is red. So I noticed that I had like some red drips on my arms and on my hands in weird spots that didn't really match where the assembly lube was, and then I realized that I was bleeding. So me and this engine, we bled in together. So we're tight. Fist bump. Alrighty. The heater just kicked on, and I gotta talk. What do? It's cold in here. So the heater's good. I'm gonna sacrifice for all of y'all. I'm doing this for you. Okay. Heater turned off. Now, pistons are in. Pretty simple to go through. There's more tension on these rings compared, like they have more you know, springiness compared to stock rings. The stock rings have a much tighter gap. So this I found these I found were pretty simple to get in. Once you work out the first one, you kind of get into a rhythm. You just walk them in with your fingers. There is some dried blood from me splitting my finger. I'm using red line assembly lube, and you know that looks like blood to begin with. So I didn't really understand why. Like, you know, I didn't understand why the it was like, it seemed like there was just more more assembly lube appearing, which didn't make any sense to me. So a little bit of working out there, but either way, it's all good. A little bit of blood in there, it's just gonna make it strong. So now what we gotta do is we're gonna clean up the head bolts, get the head out with the new head gasket, strap it together and bolt it down, and then start bolting on the rest of the goods. The front main seal, I have a different, this is just for nothing. Front main seal, rear main seal, get the timing chains together and on, and then just start bolting up all the little things that need to go together, and then she's going to be an engine. That's going to be fan-freaking-tastic. Can't wait to see what it's going to be like to drive this versus the stock engine. I know there's going to be more flow because of the cams, and we're going to be able to rev it harder because of the valves and springs and retainers that we have in there, and also more intake flow because of the short runner. I don't know how much, you know, the extra 130 cc's are going to make a difference, but I think, you know, as you add everything together, it's small increments everywhere will make a big step at the end, right? And yeah, I think also too, the weight of these internals is a little bit less, so it should be more revvy and snappy, and that's also less loss going from making horsepower and stuff, right? So yeah, can't wait to see what it's gonna be like. So anyway, we'll leave that there. Thanks for tuning in. We'll on the next video, we're gonna have the bolt the head on and do all the timing chains, and well, we'll go as far as we can. Anyway, and maybe we'll bolt the short runner on just with a couple of bolts finger tight, just to see what it looks like. I can't wait to see what it's going to be like. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm rambling. Yeah, join us on the next video. More turbo stuff coming, and yeah, then we get to make some new intercooler pipes, and then figure out engine bay setup, and maybe clean up some of the wiring that's in there too. That'd be good to do. Yeah, and then we have some custom wheels being made, so that's gonna be, the car's gonna look pretty sweet, pretty legit. A blend of like modern style, like, because everyone's turning like stock rims into 3-piece wheels. So I bought some wheels that we're making into a 3-piece that are definitely very era correct for a early 90s, late 80s, early 90s Volkswagen, but that modern 3-piece setup. So It's gonna be pretty tight, which I can't wait for that too. So unfortunately, gas is gonna be $1 million by the time this car's on the road. So I don't know what we're gonna do there. But anyway, thanks for watching. We'll tune in next time. You guys take it easy. Thanks.